We talk a lot about this of defining your why before you ever get started, knowing what is your purpose of creating this brand and putting these products out there. Are you creating something new that doesn't exist in the market, or are you taking what's already there but making it better with your unique, point of view, your unique story and experience? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Beauty Beneath. This is the podcast where we give tips and insight into the beauty industry and show you how you can help build your brand or grow your spa and salon. I'm your host, Andrea, and I'm super excited to be talking to Elise Markowitz today. She is a marketing expert with a specialty in beauty and working with skincare brands. We're going to delve into some marketing strategies that Elise has prepared for us today that will help any beauty brand or entrepreneur start their marketing strategies with little investment. So, without further ado, welcome, Elise. I'm so excited to be speaking to you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Today, Elise is going to share 5 budget-friendly tips that any brand or beauty enthusiast can implement when trying to grow their skincare line or trying to grow their spa and salon business. Thank you so much for being here, Elise. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into this marketing space?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. And I have kind of an interesting story of how I got into the beauty space specifically. My degree in college had absolutely nothing to do with marketing. I wanted to be like a foreign diplomat when I was in college. So I studied political science and different languages. And then after I graduated from college, did random jobs, and I found myself in marketing for a fitness brand. And I knew I wanted to work in beauty. So I just one day said to myself, and this sounds ridiculous, but this is really what I did. I put it out there into the universe. I said, I want to work in marketing for a beauty brand and or at Sephora. I want to work like at Sephora corporate. And so I kind of like took that as a challenge to myself and I went on LinkedIn, looked at my connections and saw if there was anybody that I had a connection with that was connected to somebody who worked at Sephora. And it just so happened I did. I had a friend who worked at Sephora and I sent my friend my resume and I just said, "Hey, can you send it to your friend who works at Sephora? If she ever needs anybody, I would absolutely love to work there at marketing." And it was a fate kismet situation. 2 weeks later, her friend ended up randomly needing somebody to fill in
Wow.
on a role. And that's kind of in a nutshell how I got my foot in the door.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah,
You never know who you're gonna meet and what's gonna happen.
it's so
Amazing.
true.
So,
Yeah.
so tell me, like, what is it about marketing in the beauty industry that excites you most? What are you most passionate about?
Yeah. I've always loved beauty. I've always been into makeup since I was a little girl, like I'm sure many, many little girls and boys and whoever. So it's always just been a fun passion for me. And so I always think too that if you are the demographic or the shopper, somebody who's interested in the product that you're marketing, it makes you just even a stronger marketer than you would be. And for beauty, I think that's definitely the case for me. I'm passionate about the products and the ingredients and all of those things. So I've always just had a special space for it in my heart.
Amazing. I know that you have some tips that are going to help, beauty entrepreneurs, beauty enthusiasts, brand owners, and estheticians, spa salons start to implement. It could be very scary when you're first getting started and you're trying to market your brand and you don't really know where to start. And it's this preconceived notion that you need to have so much money behind you in order to make a mark with marketing efforts. So I'm excited to have you share these, 5 budget-friendly tips. Before we get into our tips, I need to know, what is your absolute most favorite beauty product that you're currently using?
I have a few and they're always rotating, but I think my ride or die right now is the Dr. Jart, the Chica Pear camo drops. They're these green, kind of really, really light coverage drops I use every day for just quick, simple makeup. I have very like pink skin, so it's perfect to kind of neutralize everything, and I love them.
I do too.
Yeah, really? I know they're so good,
I do
right?
too. Yeah, yeah, they are
They're
amazing.
amazing.
Okay, so now tell me, what is your first number one tip that anyone can kind of get started with? We're talking about entrepreneurs who are just launching their beauty brand, spa salon owners who are trying to market their facility, trying to market their services, and a lot of standalone estheticians that have so much on their plate that they don't even know where to start. What would you tell them? Tip number one.
Yeah. So, and I think backing up, like all of these tips, none of them are rocket science. I feel like this is things that people who are doing well are already doing, and it's just kind of innately something they're doing. So I think that it's helpful just to kind of like outline them because really anybody can do these. It's kind of like, ratatouille, anybody can cook. So here's number one
I
is
don't know.
define your audience.
Anybody can cook. I don't know. I'm
uh,
I'm still learning.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number one point is define your audience and their problems. So this sounds obvious, but I think even a lot of big brands really miss the mark on this. I think it's important to know exactly who your core audience is and the why they would want to use your product. So I always talk about problem solution whenever I'm talking about ads or any type of marketing. When someone is scrolling and they see, maybe it's your ad and it says, help get rid of your pink or help cover up your pink skin. I mean, that for me, I'm like, oh, okay. So know exactly what their issue is and kind of bait them in that way. And I think part of that is knowing who your audience is. So, for example, for an esthetician, you're in a specific area, you have specific clientele that comes in most likely. Maybe it's busy moms who are looking for once a month skincare treatments, and then you can upsell them with some like in between times. So just really understanding your shopper, the issues that they face, and making it as easy as possible for them to achieve their goals.
I love that. I was actually doing a show previously where we were kind of walking through the steps of how you get started and just really practical how to tidbits. And one of the first ones is figuring out who you're talking to, because if you don't know who you're speaking with, you're going to be all over the place, and your story doesn't really resonate with anybody. So I
Hmm.
think that's super important to figure out who I'm speaking to, who is my product going to help? Like, what problem am I setting out to solve? And that just aligns everything else moving forward, where you're going to sell, what your MSRPs are going to be, what your messaging is going to be, what your marketing materials need to look like. I think this is like
Hmm.
one of the most important things a brand can possibly do.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Do you have an example that you've seen of a brand that just really got this right? Like they just nailed it. They know exactly who they're speaking to. They've defined their demographics so well and so clearly.
I do. And one of my favorite brands that is excellent at branding is called Sunday School. It's
Mm.
Sunday, Sundae, school, and they make clothing, and they have a very defined brand audience, the way they speak to the audience, they're creative, and it's so well defined, and they do such a great job at it. I always enjoy all of their communications.
Awesome. I love that. How do you
Mhm.
think that this works for somebody who's just starting out and hasn't launched yet? Do you think that you need to really set out who you want to be targeting and what problem you want to solve, and then go about finding the products that you're going to incorporate in their line? Or the opposite, kind of set out your products, set out your story, and then start, honing in on, okay, who is this most relevant to? Like, how does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it's both, really. I mean, I think you have to have a bit of both when you're starting off and creating your own brand, right? Because you want to have a brand for a specific reason because it's you. You're the heartbeat of the brand, so you need to be able to stand behind it and know what you like from a, ingredient perspective or whatever it is. For example, if you decide one day, "Oh, I really out of nowhere, I want to start a brand and I want to have mercury in the face cream." And it's like, no, nobody wants to have that in their face cream. So you have to be like realistic and know what people are into as well. And especially today, everyone's an expert, right, on everything because of social media. So
Yeah.
you need to be knowledgeable for what's trending and what's acceptable and what your demographic is gonna be okay with.
Another thing that I kind of spoke about is, if your brand had a voice, what would it sound like? Like who is it? Or is it that cool, fun personality? Is it that granola crunchy friend? So, what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a good call out. I think it's important to sit down, think about who the different personas are, we call them, that you're trying to reach with your marketing and through your products. So you can sit down, and it doesn't have to just be one, it can be a couple, and you can eventually, narrow it down to however many. So, and even name them, give them, personification. So let's say I'm a solo esthetician, and one of my personas that I'm trying to reach is, we'll call her Jennifer. So Jennifer she's in her 40s, she has kids, she's really busy, she doesn't have a lot of time on her hands. She comes in once a month and she wants a treatment, and then I can serve her these other products for in between our treatments. And then maybe a second persona is Jennifer's daughter. We can call her Taylor, and she is having trouble with acne, but she is too embarrassed to come in. So I can send her mom home with whatever it is that I feel like I would best serve her, and then maybe some of them are men, like Jennifer's husband, and like what are his needs and all of those things. So I think it just sit down, think about it, give them names, and it really helps you to get into the headspace of how to best talk to them, because how you'll speak with Jennifer is not the same of how you would speak with Taylor. So it's just important to sit down and define those.
Right. So kind of just segment out who your brand is speaking to, what are they dealing with, what is their life like, and how your products are going to help them navigate whatever it is that they're dealing with in life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. So with that, now we've defined who our audience is and we know who we're talking to. Where should we be speaking to them?
Great question. There are many options today where you can speak to your clients. And again, it's also split by who your personas are, right? Because Jennifer is probably not on the same platforms as Taylor, or maybe they are. So I think just using social media effectively is a really important aspect of marketing. It doesn't have to be every single platform, and it doesn't have to be all of the time. I think I always say content is queen. It's definitely not king. It is queen. So it's important to have really quality content and be consistent with it. But I wouldn't just pump out content just to pump out content. I think it needs to be really authentic to you. So if you're an esthetician, do what you do best and make great content from it. So whether it's recording yourself doing treatments, or maybe you are very passionate about ingredients. So getting on there and like maybe it's you talking to the camera and educating clients about ingredients, or creating graphics, just leveraging it in a way that's going to be effective for your clientele. So maybe for the older clientele, the Jennifers of the world, it's Facebook, but maybe for like the younger Taylors of the world, it's TikTok. Testing all of them, but you don't have to boil the ocean when it comes to social media. I think you can stick with a platform, two platforms that you do really, really well, and that that is enough.
Yeah, yeah, I think I totally agree with you. You definitely need to know who you're speaking to know, how to reach them. Sometimes I have two questions for you. I think about this often. If we're talking about an esthetician who is really working, they have so much on their plate, these estheticians. They have to do treatments, they have to market their services and advertise them, get people through the door, make themselves known, gain that trust and credibility with the community that they're trying to cultivate. And
Mhm,
run their business. Now they have a brand that they are trying to put out there so that they can expand their revenue and not be solely dependent on the revenue that's coming in from the services that they're, providing with their own two hands. Now on top of
mhm,
that, they have to create content. And I think about
mhm,
that and I'm overwhelmed for them. So what would you say to that standalone esthetician who's really just hustling and now she has her own brand? She's trying to get it out. She's trying to get it out there and implement some marketing strategies. But like, when do you create this content? Like, how do you even go
mhm.
about
Yeah, creating content is no easy task. So I think there's a few quick tips for how busy whomever estheticians or people starting their own business can make it work. So I would say number one, if you feel comfortable, record yourself just doing your everyday. So if I'm an esthetician, maybe it's literally me putting the camera on the mirror and recording myself doing my skincare. You can hold up what you're using. Maybe you talk while you're doing it. Try to incorporate it into things you would already be doing. Additionally, if your clients, if you are an esthetician or what have you, if they're comfortable, maybe you record yourself doing a treatment. So try to just ingrain it into your everyday so that you're not finding yourself tacking it on. I think separately, you can also block out time for content creation on your calendar. 1 hour a week, maybe to start. You just block it out and you just create content, something, a video that you've seen that you liked and you want to recreate it. So there's a few different ways that you can tackle it.
Right. I love that. It's so much and so overwhelming that I feel like you have to set a goal for yourself and then tackle it that way. If
Mhm.
you're going to do it a little bit every day, or if you're going to do it once a week, and then you have that plan set, it's a little easier to digest, I would say.
Yeah,
My second
totally.
question for you is that we talk about, okay, the Taylors of the world aren't necessarily on the
Mhm.
same platform as the Jennifers of the world. And like, we're all looking at something different depending on who we are. But do you think that there is a downside to creating content and then just putting it out there? Like, let's say you're targeting the Jennifers of the world. So you're going to go on Instagram and Facebook. But is there any harm in putting the Jennifer content on TikTok too? Like, is it just easier to just blast it all out there? Or do you recommend to be super strategic in where you're putting things?
I think both. I don't think there's any harm necessarily in putting it on every platform, but that is just additional work on this person's plate to post and then engage if there is engagement happening. And
Right.
also for content, also for platforms like TikTok, what really is important to them is consistent posting. So I don't think it hurts necessarily, but you may not achieve the results that you want if you just kind of spray and pray approach with content. I think it's better to be a little bit more niche.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. Are you seeing that there are some like really glaringly obvious mistakes that people are doing on social media that you would recommend avoiding?
Yes. My biggest one is that more is not better. And that's always
Okay.
something I need to educate on with all founders and businesses of all sizes. I think that for kind of going back on what I just said for TikTok, I would say in that case, it can be better. But my real point is the quality has to be there. So for TikTok, if you don't have 10 great videos that you want to post every week, you can still post, but maybe not get the results that you're looking for. But I think on especially specifically Instagram, you don't need to be posting every single day to have a great account or to build your account or to gain interest. I really think the quality needs to be there
Okay. So quality over quantity when we're
for sure.
talking social media. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting because in that case, you really need to know where your strengths are, right? So, like, if you're a spa owner or an esthetician or a beauty brand owner, you need to know where are my strengths so that I can get the best content possible to put out there. So, talk to us a little bit about that and how knowing where your strengths lie really helps lend itself to marketing.
Yeah. So I think with every business, they need to find what they are the best at. It's kind of like if you have a business and you have an assortment of products and you have that one hero SKU, that core product that people are always purchasing. It's like, what is that kind of within your business if you are, an esthetician? Is it your hydrofacials? People rave about them, they love them, you love giving them, people love receiving them, they're your best seller. Then I would say lean into that and highlight that in everything that you do, whether it's on Yelp or ads, social media, really leaning into it and again getting niche into something that you're really good at. And then from there, similar to if you're selling anything, you can add on other, treatments, products, etc. to that.
Okay. And how about beauty brand owners that aren't in the like the traditional beauty space, spa, salon, esthetician, just a beauty enthusiast or a content creator with a really solid following and they're passionate about the
Yeah.
beauty. industry and they want to launch their own brand with some
Yeah.
products, how do they lean into their strengths to help marketing?
Yeah, I would say number 1, it is a saturated space. So you need to be very ready to compete and have a very defined point of view on why you're starting your business and why yours is, better than the 10,000 other vitamin C serums that are out there. And I say
Right.
that flippantly, but it's true. I mean, you can do it, but you need to be ready to really speak to why yours is better. I think today, for somebody who is a beauty enthusiast and wants to launch products, what do you like to use on a daily basis? What do you think is a white space in the market? Is there something that is not already out there? Today, it's really important for people that products do double duty. Everything needs to do like 10 things.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing a lot of requests for multi-purpose products because people are busy. They don't want a million things for every little problem that they have. They want a few key products that are going to help solve, a majority of their skin issues or just make their lives easier. And we talk a lot about this of defining your why before you ever get started, knowing what is your purpose of creating this brand and putting these products out there. Are you creating something new that doesn't exist in the market, or are you taking what's already there but making it better with your unique, point of view, your unique story and experience? So we see that a lot when our clients come in and they say, "Okay, yes, I want to launch vitamin C line. There are so many vitamin C lines out there, but I want to do it with peptides and this and that ingredient, and I want to package it uniquely." Like there's so many different takes on how to create a great product, even if you're not reinventing the wheel. And I think that just knowing why you're doing what you're doing is going to anchor you throughout all the difficulties of launching a brand. Because in the beauty industry, in the fashion industry, whatever it is, when you start your business, always going to be bumps that come up, and you need to know why you're doing this in the first place. Otherwise, it's really easy to get lost.
Totally agree. Yeah. Well said.
It's so interesting to me how different the marketing strategies are going to be with, for somebody who's in the traditional beauty space, in a spa or salon or in their studio versus, a content creator who's launching their brand or a beauty enthusiast who's coming up with their own line and how they're going to show up on social media. So I know that something like micro influencers is a very key part of a marketing strategy. I'm curious to know for our brand owners that are focusing on selling on their own e-commerce platforms and not necessarily leveraging foot traffic from a facility, how they can show up on social media and leverage micro influencers to market their brand.
Yeah. A great question. And I think this is something that even today is so underutilized by big brands and small brands alike. I think you don't need to gift, the Alex Earls of the world necessarily, like you should if you can. But I think that there is just as much power in micro influencers. So like the Yous and the Me's of the world, maybe with slightly more followers, but they are a powerhouse. They have a very strong following that purchases what they say because they feel like, with this small following, they are authentic. And I think a great example of this, I don't know if you've heard of her or follow her, is Tibble, Things I Bought and Liked.
Yeah.
I mean, she's iconic and she is
Right.
literally just a woman who posted things that she bought and she liked. And I think
Right.
that so resonated with people because, especially in today's world where you're constantly being influenced by a million different posts and people and products, it's refreshing when, like, your girlfriend is like, "Oh, hey, I bought this. You should try it. I really liked it." Or, "Oh my God, this was so terrible." And she never does sponsored content. So I think that it's a really underutilized space. And I know, I mean, reach out to me, brands. Hello, if you want me to try something and post about it. Like,
Right.
okay. So
Anytime.
anytime I'm here.
I
So
mean,
I think there's a lot of
we're
people like that.
manufacturers or manufacturers, and I can't get enough beauty products. So send me whatever you want. I'm here for it.
Our addresses will be linked.
Yes, exactly. No,
But
it's
really, I mean, there's a lot of them out there, so it's
yeah,
underutilized for
you're
sure.
right. You're right. I think that people have started to really sense when a recommendation is genuine, and you can sense the posts that are truly just getting paid and are going to use
Mhm.
it for that, user generated content and then never use it again versus micro
Right.
influencers who actually are open to trying products and will give you their real opinion. The risk there is that they'll tell you if they don't like it, right? So I
Right.
guess the brand, you have to make sure that the product is matching to what your micro influencer would like, because you don't want to generate
Mhm.
negative reviews. So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that strategy and how to select your micro influencers for your brand.
Yeah. It's a great question, and I think every brand is different, but I think if you are starting a skincare brand and let's say you're an esthetician and or you're just, a miscellaneous person like myself and you want to start a brand and you have some samples or some some early samples that you're looking to get out there and just kind of start things moving. I This is kind of a funny example, but I'm on the PTA. So it's like finding people who have other connections in life that are just naturally that will naturally kind of echo out and kind of halo your products. Because I know I have a mom's group that I'm in on Facebook, and if somebody's like, "Hey guys, like this skincare product is so good," of course I'm going to buy it because that person is in my same situation, and they know. And they probably, it's probably not too expensive. So I would say if brands are searching for these people, find your person, right? That you feel like is like your Jennifer or like your persona, and then maybe you look at who she's following, who's following her, and just kind of be like, "Hey, Jennifer, like I'm going to send you some product. Is that okay? Can you give it to some of your friends?" Things like that are a little old school, but I think they're definitely coming back because of what we just talked about, the super saturated market. So just finding those pockets for yourself, um, and going from there.
Yeah, and I think that another piece of it is really not being afraid to approach micro influencers. Like sometimes I think that it's
Totally.
intimidating and you're like, okay, why would this person want to promote my brand? But you really never know. People are far
Yeah.
more open to it than we think. And if you
Right.
just say, I have this great product, I see that you're dealing with XYZ. Would you be open to reviewing it? I think that we'd be approached with a lot more openness and
Yeah.
willingness that we sometimes set ourselves up to believe and then kind of just shy away from it because it's too intimidating.
I agree. I agree. And I think look at brands or companies like Influencer. People pay them thousands and thousands of dollars literally just to seed their products out to people. So you know
Right.
that it is effective. And there are, cheap and cheerful ways of doing it as well.
Yeah. I think for our clients, a lot of times I always recommend when you go into production, always set a subset of production that you are going to allocate towards marketing. So you may not be selling these units if it's sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's a few hundred, depending on how big the brand is and how you're starting out. But
Hmm.
always make sure that when you're going into production, you prepare a subset of products just for marketing. And then you kind
Yep.
of understand, okay, I'm not making a margin on these, but it's an
Right.
investment in my brand.
That's great advice. And from a marketing perspective, that makes my heart so happy.
So we really want to be collaborating with influencers that align with our values, that just resonate with the story of the brand and what we're setting out to accomplish in the world as a brand. So tell me that what like once you're engaging with these micro influencers and you have content out there, you're posting on whatever platform is right for you, you're going through all the steps. How do you know if it's working? Like how can you tell if you're on the mark, if your marketing dollars and ad spend is like getting you what you need? Tell me a little bit about how we decide whether we're doing right or wrong.
Yeah. For smaller businesses, I think it's important to allocate your dollars and time wisely, of course, because nobody has unlimited funds. So I think, for example, if you did do micro influencer seeding or gifting of products, what I also might do is give those influencers a promo code, like a Jennifer 20. So those people who she does give it to, the samples to, can come back and purchase with her promo code. That's a really easy way of tracking how effective it was. Also, and engagement super important. So maybe Jennifer's post got 100 likes or a million comments of, wow, that's so great. I love this. Where can I get it? Blah, blah, blah. So I think it's, engagement. Also, can you use Jennifer's content that she creates? A lot of times these smaller influencers are a little bit less picky on if you use their content or not, which I love big influencers and I'm more than happy to pay them. So I'm not saying that, but it's a little bit, it's an easier way and a more approachable way for smaller brands to do it. Get these smaller influencers in and you can both help each other achieve, right? So if this influencer is trying to become bigger, you help them do that. You're trying to grow your brand, they genuinely like your product. It's a win-win for all sides.
Yeah. I think that, sometimes my clients will come and tell me, oh, I gifted these products to a few people and they gave me really good reviews. I think that's something that we always talking about. Getting testimonials, getting reviews is very powerful for
Yes.
marketing. But I feel like the holy grail of it all is when they actually come back and purchase the product
Hmm.
after because they want more of it after they've reviewed it for you. And I feel like then you've done right. Like they got the
Yeah,
product for free, they used it, and then they want more, they come back and they buy it, and now you've
totally.
acquired, like, a lifelong customer. I feel like that's success right
Yeah.
there.
I totally agree. That's what it's all about. The dollars, the bottom line is what it's all about. So we
What
want to get
everyone's
them to
trying
come
to
back.
do. For sure. How would you recommend that that clients track their progress in marketing? Like,
Yeah.
give me a little bit of insight into the analytics of what we're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think one great thing about the age that we're in is that every platform has its own metrics built into it. So even if you're, using Instagram for free and you're posting, you can see within the app how many people saw it, how many people liked it, what the engagement rate was. It literally tells you what your most popular posts were. So you can always learn from it, learn from every post, recreate them. And just kind of track your progress there. Also, how many followers you're getting, does this product have more likes than that product? What are people commenting on when you post about, your vitamin C serum? And then I think for if you do have ad spend, money to spend on advertising, it gets a little bit more, it gets a little more tricky because you have to decide what your goal is from that ad spend. Is it just to get in front of people or is it to like initially drive return on ad spend, right? Like revenue back to your website. So once you decide which one it is, there's many different metrics you can look at. So I think just getting in front of people is very important, and then also making sure that you're not just spending money with abandon on Facebook. I always think you should, before you start spending money on Facebook, at the very least, if you can't afford to have a professional do it for you, I think taking some classes, some free classes online is a great way to start so that you can know what's going into it, know what you should be looking at. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think that something that's like glaring to me is that we talk about, okay, I want to start a brand, I want to start this business, I want to increase my revenue. I have to pick my products, pick my packaging, get my label design, set my story, define my audience. I have to do all these things, and then I have to make
Hmm.
sure it's successful and market it, and create the content, and reach out to the influencers, and leverage social media in the right way. And there's so
Yeah.
much to do, and a lot of times we get into this mindset of like, okay, I have to do it all. But I think that today there are so
Mhm,
many tools out there. I mean, today more than ever, there are so many tools
mhm.
out there that help just speed up the process, that take the load off. So, can you give some of your best recommendations of what platforms to turn to that you would say are like the top marketing essential apps or platforms that every brand owner must have?
Yeah. I mean, number 1 for me is gonna be Marketer Hire. Shout out to Chris Toy. I feel like it is the best of the best marketers market there, so I'm a huge fan. I feel like it is the place to go. I think if you're looking for some more accessible areas, or things to do on your own, kind of a DIY situation, Canva makes everyone into a graphic designer.
Right.
So it's an incredible platform. There's also social media tools you can use to plan your posts out. I really like using Plan That. Double N, plan that. It's cheap. It's like $30 a month, maybe. And you can create a bunch of content in Canva and then kind of parse it out as it makes sense. You can also schedule reels in there. So I think there's a lot of tools out there. You just kind of need to go out there and look and see what's right for you. Another great platform is LinkedIn. Get yourself on LinkedIn, make connections, post content. You never know who will see it or who you'll be able to connect with in your area. I think another really accessible tool, person that people can use are VAs. There are a ton of very affordable, talented VAs. I use one, Corinne, thank you for all you do. And she's amazing just to help take that load off of your plate because like you said, it's so much creating the content, planning the content. What's your calendar? Like, is there a holiday coming up? Valentine's Day, should I create for that? So, those are really affordable resources that you can find online that, more than double your speed as you're going forward. So, everything happen up front. Like, you can divide and conquer and just kind of, you know, get there.
Yeah. I think for our estheticians and spa salon owners, they're in a unique position because they not only have to market their products, but they have to market their services and their facility. And
Yes.
it can be overwhelming. So I think utilizing these types of apps and virtual assistants whenever possible to just make sure that you have help when needed is really super
Yeah.
important. Set you up for success. I love what you
Yeah.
said. You don't have to do it all overnight. It's slow and steady progress is what we're here for. That's why you private label in the first place because you don't necessarily have all the resources like the big brands do. And so you
Right.
want to take baby steps and understand that it's a journey to build your way to that success. Um, and another thing is
Yeah.
just also word of mouth. People are going to talk about products that they love and have faith in that. If you're really passionate
Hmm.
about what you've created and what you've launched and what you're putting out there, get it into as many hands as possible and believe that people are going to start talking about it. And you're also going to generate some organic growth. But
Yeah.
definitely have your marketing strategy solid because you can't depend only on organic growth.
100%. And that's so true about word of mouth. I mean, especially at my age, I'm so young, but when I see another person my age, like a mom or whatever, and her skin looks good or his skin looks good, you better believe I'm asking for their entire routine.
For
So,
sure.
I mean, bases are like a walking billboard for estheticians or brands who have products. So, yeah, really important.
Yeah, I think today it's so easy because people are always looking for new things that are going to improve their lives. Every time I get on Instagram, there's something new that I thought was healthy for you, that I thought was perfectly fine, and now it's bad for you. Like this morning, I saw
I
tea bags
know.
are bad for you. Tea bags. I thought I was being healthy drinking
What?
tea. Apparently, there's plastic that's leaching out of your tea bag, and now you have to use like a stainless steel thing with loose leaves. So now I'm going to go buy that. Like, I think our beauty owners, our beauty brand owners need to also understand that there's going to be space for you in the market because you're constantly needing to
Yeah.
improve, constantly needing to show up with better products, cleaner formulations, more sustainable packaging, a mission that's going to help better people's lives. And so there's this search that everyone is on for a healthier way to live, a pure way to live. And so you can take the same product that's been around for ages, improve it, refine it, put it out there, and know that there's going to be a need for it. So don't get disheartened and say like, okay, there's too much noise and marketing is so overwhelming and it's already out there. No, every brand has a place in the market.
I totally agree.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Elise. You have so much experience with marketing and especially in the beauty industry. You've given us some amazing tips. Can you just recap for us what are the five budget friendly tips that any brand owner, any spa salon esthetician can start working on to really help market their brand?
Absolutely. So, one, we have define your audience and identify their challenges. So, problem solution. What problems are you solving for them? Two, leveraging social media effectively and being consistent with it. So, what channels do you want to start with? You don't need to do it all. Focus on, one, to do it well. Three is highlighting your strengths through storytelling and visuals. So, capturing what you already do well. So, if you do a great hydrofacial, record that, lean into that, give tips on that before, after care, how you can maximize it. Four, partnering with micro influencers to really amplify your reach. So, giving free product out, stating product to people in your network if you're a local esthetician or your friends, your mom friends in your mom group, just getting your product out there for people to try, getting feedback even is really helpful for that. And again, everybody's face is a walking billboard for your products when it comes to skincare or their body if it's body
Right.
care. But and five, staying consistent and tracking your progress. So really initially defining what you want to get out of what you're doing, right? So on social media, for example, Instagram, if you're just posting, great. So you want to get likes, you want to get attention, you want to get in front of people. So measuring the success of every post. If you're paying for ads on whatever it is, Meta or potentially TikTok, then you can do return on ad spend. Or if you're just trying to do awareness, how many people saw it. So just really measuring everything that you do.
Before we let you go, I have a quick fun game that I want to play, this or that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Focus on Instagram Reels to boost visibility or build deeper connections with your audience through Instagram stories.
I would say that focus on building deeper connections on Instagram stories.
Okay, amazing. This or that, use Pinterest to drive traffic to your website or online store, or use Facebook groups to build a community around your brand.
Oh, this is hard. I like both. Pinterest is really great for driving organic traffic. Doesn't always convert at the levels that you want. They don't always purchase. Facebook groups are usually a little bit more loyal. So I think I'm going to have to give it to Facebook groups.
Okay. All right. This or that. This one's a hard one. Share polished professional product photos of your feed or share candid behind the scenes photos of your process.
This is really hard. I think I'm going to have to go with behind the scenes content.
Post consistently 3 to 4 times per week at peak times, or post less frequently but focus on creating higher quality, shareable content.
Always higher quality, shareable content.
Okay. So sticking to less is more and
Yes,
quality over quantity. Okay.
always.
Right. Use Instagram guides to curate your best content, or use LinkedIn for thought leadership and networking in the beauty industry.
I literally don't even know what an Instagram guide is. So I'm going to
Okay.
go with LinkedIn.
Let's skip that one.
I swear I'm a marketing professional. I don't know what that is.
Okay. This or that. Use hashtags strategically to increase your post visibility or focus on engaging with comments and DMs to build stronger relationships.
That's tough. I'm sorry, I have to go with both because they serve different purposes. One is acquisition and one is retention, kind of get sticky, keeping yourself sticky for those who are already engaged with you.
Okay. Both on that one. Got you.
Yeah. But
All right. This or that. Host an Instagram live Q&A session about your most popular skincare products or create a short form educational video explaining how to use them. Hmm, I like this
I'm
one.
going to say video because if you don't have a big Instagram following, the lives, and I've seen this happen IRL, when you go live, there's like nobody there. So I think if you have a video, you can use it in a bunch of different ways as opposed to going on talking to yourself for a little bit.
Right, which is not comfortable.
No.
This or that. Use Facebook ads to promote your new product launch or use email marketing to announce the launch to your subscriber list.
Subscriber list.
Okay. This or
Mhm.
that. Offer a free downloadable skincare guide in exchange for email signups or run an Instagram giveaway to boost brand awareness.
I love a free downloadable guide. So I think anything for email signups, email is such an underutilized tool. And I feel like this is anecdotal, but if a brand is not doing well, that's the first place that they go to squeeze out a ton of revenue because people who sign up for your email list and are opening your emails, they are engaged and it is so much more cost effective and just effective overall to engage with them. So always email.
Thank you so much, Elise. You've given us some amazing tips that are easy to implement and super digestible. I want to play a quick game of trends to bury in 2025. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Unrealistic before and after photos.
Barry. I hate that. And it's always so obvious when brands are doing it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think we just need to move away from that entirely and show real skin. Just,
Yeah. We want
put it
genuine
all out
content.
there.
Genuine content.
Hmm.
Okay. Relying solely on giveaways to gain followers. Bury or keep alive.
Bury it for
Bury.
sure. I think if you're relying on that, then you're already buried anyways. So
Yeah,
no.
that's true. Investing in high quality products photography for your social media content. Bury or keep alive.
I think This is really hard. I always give like nuanced answers. I think we bury it only because everyone has a professional photographer in their hand called an iPhone. So I think that now the consumer loves to see realistic photos. I think like one of the trending top ads of Meta last week was a picture of like a supplement laying on a bed that somebody took on their phone. So it's just kind of giving the people what they want, which is handheld like iPhone photos. So sorry.
Okay. Bury or keep alive, overloading emails with promotional messages.
Barry, I hate it. Don't do it.
So less promotions, like not so
Yes.
okay. I actually heard this that, if you keep promoting your services, if you keep promoting your products, you're devaluing it. You're just making it cheaper. So less
Yes.
promos either. Not every holiday needs some percentage off of what you're offering.
No, especially if you're somebody who works with your hands like an esthetician, like I don't I you need to value like what you do and no, you're not going to give somebody a promo once a month. I think that, people can pay up for it.
Yeah. Bury or keep alive, utilizing AI tools to help with marketing strategies.
I think we keep it alive with the caveat that an AI cannot create a strategy that I mean, you're gonna need to, like, review it. I think a lot of people just kind of think that AI can do everything, and I think it's a great tool, but it does have limitations, and, so I would say keep it, but also know that it's not perfect.
Okay. And last one, bury or keep alive, educational content as a cornerstone of marketing.
I keep it. I love it. It has to. I think that's why brands are around. Consumers wanna be educated, they are smart, they wanna know what they're putting on their bodies and consuming, so definitely keep it.
Amazing. Yeah, I think education is so important and not something that we can shy away from today anymore. We
Mhm.
are the most knowledgeable generation of our time, and it's only increasing. We're only becoming more and more aware of what we're putting on our skin and into our bodies. And it is a good
Mhm.
thing, but definitely a challenge for brands to keep up.
100%.
Amazing. Thank you, Elise. Thanks for playing with us today and giving us all of your marketing insight. If you loved what you heard here today, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And feel free to leave us comments or DM us for any questions that you might have in getting started or marketing your brand. I'm your host, Andrea. And remember, it's not just skincare, it's a skin lifestyle.